All right, you bunch of sanctimonious fuckers, strap in.
Oh, he's going for it today.
Because today,
Full throttle.
we're diving deep into the
Yeah.
Bible Belt.
Oh,
That
yeah.
glorious clusterfuck of religion and politics,
I'm into that.
that makes America
The beautiful disaster.
the beautiful disaster it is. We're talking churches on every corner.
More preachers than you can shake a stick at.
More preachers than you can shake a stick at.
That's a lot of sticks.
And enough fervor to launch a goddamn spaceship straight to Jesus land.
Buckle up.
You wanted the lowdown on this Bible Belt shit,
I
right?
mean, they do.
Well, we dove headfirst into a stack of Wikipedia articles.
Dusty history books?
Dusty history books.
Oh, yeah, and let's not forget.
And even some batshit crazy online forums
Reddit, we're looking at you.
to give you the inside scoop.
The real deal.
So,
It's true, but the term Bible Belt it refers to.
this whole Bible Belt thing anyway.
Well, it refers to that swath of the southern U.S. where evangelical Protestantism, well, it reigns supreme, really. High church attendance,
Yeah.
fire and brimstone sermons,
Oh, yeah.
and a whole lot of pearl clutching over anything remotely enjoyable.
Let's cut the crap.
Oh, here we go.
We're talking serious social and political clout here, folks. This ain't just about bake sales in Sunday school.
Oh, no.
These folks vote,
Oh, they vote.
and they vote hard,
Based on...
based on what their preachers tell them from the pulpit.
That's a somewhat simplistic view, but yes, the Bible Belt wields significant influence on U.S. politics, particularly when it comes to, well, social conservatism, really.
So where the hell is this Bible Belt anyway? Is it like a giant chastity belt for America's dirty bits?
Not quite. The boundaries are, well, pretty fluid. It traditionally includes the usual suspects,
Okay.
Alabama, Mississippi, and those parts of Florida where they film swamp monster documentaries.
Right.
But hold on, you've also got chunks of Missouri and Texas in there, too. Yeah. It's less about state lines and more about cultural and historical influences, you see.
Hold up. Parts of Missouri. I thought those fuckers were all about BBQ and meth, not Jesus.
Well, the southern part of Missouri, specifically the Ozarks, has a surprisingly strong evangelical presence. It's all about, well, how history and culture shape these things.
So we're talking deep-fried religion with a side of hillbilly hymns.
Something like that. But it's important to remember that even within these states, you've got a spectrum of, well, religious intensity.
Right, right.
You've got your hardcore Bible Belt strongholds where they practically speak in tongues at the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got areas that are a bit more moderate.
So like levels of holy roller insanity.
Exactly. Think of it as a buffet of batshittery.
Okay, I like it.
Some cities are considered, well, major hubs of evangelicalism, almost like buckles on that giant metaphorical chastity belt,
Okay, give me some examples.
Nashville, for example, is often dubbed the Protestant Vatican. Yeah, with its 700-plus churches and, well, countless Christian institutions. Then you've got Abilene, Texas, with its ridiculous number of religious universities.
It's like a factory churning out preachers.
Exactly.
And let's not forget Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they practically worship Oral Roberts and his Golden Tower of Faith.
Oral Roberts University is indeed a prominent landmark in Tulsa.
Right.
And the city has a, well, strong evangelical presence.
Yeah.
But let's not paint too simplistic a picture.
Okay.
There are also a vibrant mainline Protestant congregations and even non-Christian communities thriving within these, well, so-called Bible Belt strongholds.
All right. I get it. It's not all snake handling and speaking in tongues.
No.
There's some nuance to this whole thing.
There is.
But let's be real.
Sure.
The Bible Belt is a powerful force in American culture and politics.
That's for sure.
And frankly, I'm dying to know how the hell it got that way.
Well, that's where history comes in. The rise of evangelical Protestantism in the South is, well, it's a fascinating and complex tale. It's got everything from charismatic preachers whipping people into a frenzy to political maneuvering and cultural shifts that would make your head spin.
So spill the beans, Doc.
Okay.
Give me the down low on how the South got so goddamn holy.
Let's rewind back to the colonial period.
Okay.
When the Anglican Church, it held sway in the South, but over the next century, a wave of religious revival movements, many associated with the Baptists, swept through the region.
Okay.
These movements often featured fiery preachers who emphasized, personal conversion and emotional religious experiences.
Wait, you're telling me these Bible-thumping asshats weren't always the dominant force in the South? Who the hell were they converting?
Yeah.
Were there, like, pagan rituals and blood sacrifices going on down there?
Not exactly. The South was largely Christian,
Okay.
but these revival movements sparked a shift toward, well, a more evangelical and fundamentalist form of Protestantism. It was like a spiritual earthquake
Right.
that reshaped the entire religious landscape.
So it was like a goddamn spiritual Game of Thrones with the Baptists coming out on top.
You could say that. The Second Great Awakening, a wave of religious revivals that swept through the U.S. in the early 19th century, it was a, well, pivotal moment.
Right.
It led to a surge in evangelical Protestantism, particularly in the South. And it helped solidify the region's religious identity.
So these revival meetings were like the evangelical version of Woodstock. Lots of preaching, singing, and maybe a few too many bad trips on Jesus juice.
Well, there were definitely elements of spectacle and emotional intensity,
Right.
but these movements also had a profound impact on social and political life in the South.
So how did we go from tent revivals and fire and brimstone sermons to mega churches and political campaigns? What's the missing link in this holy evolution?
One key factor was the role of missionary work. Believe it or not, Northern missionaries played a significant role in spreading evangelical Protestantism throughout the South.
Wait, hold up. You're telling me those Yankee bastards were responsible for making the South so goddamn religious?
Yeah.
I thought they were too busy fighting a civil war over slavery and shit.
The history is, it's complicated. But yes, Northern missionaries, particularly those associated with the Baptist and Methodist denominations, were active in the South.
Okay.
They saw the region as ripe for conversion.
Right.
And worked tirelessly to spread their message.
So they were like religious salespeople peddling salvation down south. Did they offer free Bibles with every purchase?
They certainly believed they were spreading the truth.
Right.
And used various methods to reach people, preaching, establishing churches, and even setting up schools.
So basically, these missionaries were the evangelical version of Johnny Appleseed, except instead of spreading apple trees, they were spreading the goddamn gospel.
What?
Talk about a holy harvest.
You could say that. Their efforts had a lasting impact on the religious landscape of the South, helping to create the, fertile ground for the Bible Belt we know today.
So the Bible Belt wasn't just some spontaneous eruption of religious fervor. It was cultivated like a goddamn spiritual garden with missionaries, preachers, and revivals all playing their part.
Exactly. It's a story of religious passion, cultural shifts, and political maneuvering, all intertwined to create a region unlike any other in the U.S. And believe me, the story gets even wilder from here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's dive back into this hornet's nest of hypocrisy and hallelujahs. Where were we? Yes, the cultural quirks and contradictions of the Bible Belt. Because believe me, it's not all just sermons and voting booths.
Yeah, well, thank fuck for that. Frankly, my brain's about fried from all this Jesus talk. I need a goddamn drink.
Patience.
And maybe a lap dance from a preacher's daughter just to balance out the karma.
Patience, my friend. We've got to unpack this whole culture thing. Now, where to begin? Music, perhaps?
Music. You mean like that twangy-ass country music about pickup trucks, cheating wives, and cheap beer?
Well, country music certainly has roots in the Bible Belt, but we're talking about gospel, soul, the blues. Genres born out of struggle, faith, and a whole lot of soul-searching.
Hold on. The blues. Isn't that more about whiskey, heartbreak, and bad decisions than Jesus?
Precisely. And that's where it gets interesting. The blues, born in the Mississippi Delta, a heartland of the Bible Belt, is full of contradictions. It's about pain and sin, but also redemption and hope. It's the sound of the human condition wrestling with faith, set to a killer beat.
So basically the blues is like the musical version of a Sunday sermon with a shot of whiskey and a side of sin.
Yeah.
I can dig that. Maybe those Bible thumpers aren't as uptight as I thought.
It's that duality that makes the Bible Belt so fascinating. You've got this intense religiosity existing alongside a rich history of music, literature, and art that often explores the darker sides of life, the stuff they try to sweep under the rug.
Speaking of dark sides, what about all those crazy-ass cults and fringe religious groups that seem to pop up in the Bible Belt like mushrooms after a rain? You know, the snake handlers, the doomsday prophets, the folks who think aliens built the pyramids. Is there something in the water down there that makes people go batshit crazy for Jesus?
Well, let's not generalize. But it's true that the Bible Belt has a history of attracting charismatic figures and unorthodox religious movements. Think back to those tent revivals we talked about, the emotional intensity, the emphasis on personal experience. It creates a fertile ground for those seeking a more extreme or personalized form of faith.
So basically, it's like a spiritual buffet where you can pick and choose your flavor of crazy. Some folks want the traditional fire and brimstone, while others want something a little more exotic, like speaking in tongues while juggling rattlesnakes or something.
Yeah.
You could say that. And the vastness of the region, with its rural communities and relative isolation, allows these fringe groups to flourish with less scrutiny from the outside world. They create their own communities, their own interpretations of faith. It's a microcosm of American religious individualism, taken to the nth degree.
Speaking of individualism, let's talk about the whole hypocrisy thing. You know, the preachers preaching about family values while screwing their secretaries, the politicians condemning gays while secretly cruising for hookups. Is hypocrisy like a goddamn prerequisite for joining the Bible Belt Club?
Come now, let's not paint with too broad a brush. Every community has its share of hypocrites and scandals. The Bible Belt is no exception, but focusing solely on those instances misses the bigger picture. We're talking about millions of people with deeply held beliefs trying to live their lives according to their faith. To reduce them to a caricature of hypocrisy is not only unfair, it's intellectually lazy.
All right, I get it. Not all Bible Belters are closet sinners with skeletons in their closets. But you gotta admit, the gap between preaching and practice can be pretty damn wide sometimes. It's like they're living in two different worlds, one holy and righteous, the other full of secrets and shame.
That tension, that struggle between the ideal and the reality, is part of the human condition, regardless of where you live or what you believe. It's in that space, that gray area between the black and white, that the most interesting stories are found.
Okay, so if the Bible Belt isn't just a monolith of religious nuts and hypocrites, what the hell is it? What makes it tick? Besides fear of eternal damnation, of course.
It's about community, about shared values, tradition, and a deep sense of belonging. For many people in the Bible Belt, church isn't just a place of worship, it's the center of their social life, their support system. It's where they find meaning and purpose.
So it's like a social club with a side of Jesus. You go for the potlucks and stay for the sermons. And maybe a little gossip about who's been sleeping with who.
In a way, yes. But it's more than that. It's about a shared identity, a common language, a set of values that bind people together. And for many, it provides a sense of stability and certainty in an increasingly uncertain world.
I guess I can see that. In a world that's constantly changing and full of chaos, having a firm set of beliefs can be comforting, even if those beliefs are a bit out there, like thinking the earth is 6,000 years old or something.
Indeed. And the Bible Belt, with its strong emphasis on faith and tradition, offers that comfort in spades. It's a refuge from the complexities and uncertainties of modern life, a place where things seem simpler, more straightforward. Of course, that simplicity can come at a cost.
Yeah, like intellectual curiosity and critical thinking.
Yeah.
Don't those things tend to get tossed out the window when dogma takes over? I mean, you can't exactly question the infallibility of the Bible when you're surrounded by people who think questioning is a sin, right?
That's a valid concern, and it's a tension that exists within the Bible Belt itself. There are those who cling to a literal interpretation of the scriptures, rejecting anything that challenges their worldview. And then there are those who embrace a more nuanced, questioning approach to faith, seeking to reconcile their beliefs with the realities of the modern world.
So it's like a battle between the fundamentalists and the, well, less fundamentalists. The Bible thumpers versus the Bible tappers.
An amusing analogy. And that internal struggle, that debate over the role of faith in modern life, is playing out in churches, communities, and families across the Bible Belt. It's a microcosm of the larger cultural and intellectual battles happening across America and, indeed, the world.
So it's not just about religion, it's about everything. Politics, culture, identity, the whole goddamn human experience wrapped up in a Bible Belt burrito.
Precisely. And that's why it's so fascinating, so frustrating, so goddamn compelling. It's a mirror reflecting back our own anxieties, our own search for meaning, our own struggles with faith and doubt.
Damn, Doc, you're getting all philosophical on me now. I need another drink. And maybe a shot of that snake-handling faith to spice things up.
Patience, my friend. And we've only just scratched the surface. There's a whole world out there beyond the American Bible Belt, ready for a global tour of religious fervor.
A global tour? You mean there are other Bible Belts out there? Shit, I thought this craziness was a uniquely American phenomenon.
Oh, my friend, you have so much to learn. Buckle up, because we're going international.
All right, Doc, let's get this goddamn global tour of holy roller insanity on the road. I'm ready to have my mind blown wider than a Pentecostal preacher at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Excellent. Buckle up because we're about to venture beyond the familiar territory of the American Bible Belt and explore how religious fervor manifests itself in different cultures and contexts.
You mean there are other places on this planet where people are just as obsessed with Jesus as they are in Alabama? Should I need a bigger drink?
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe a helmet in case some religious nut job tries to stone me for blasphemy?
And some of them might surprise you. Take Australia, for example. They've got their own Bible belts, often centered around megachurches in those sprawling suburban wastelands.
Suburban megachurches. Sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry. What the hell kind of fire and brimstone are they preaching down under? Are they talking about the wrath of God while barbecuing shrimp on the Barbie?
Well, it's not always about fire and brimstone. These Australian megachurches are often quite modern with slick marketing campaigns and a focus on contemporary worship styles. Think rock bands, light shows, and sermons that are more like motivational talks than theological dissertations.
So it's like a rock concert meets a self-help seminar with a dash of Jesus sprinkled on top. Sign me up. Might actually stay awake for that, as long as they've got a decent beer selection.
Don't get too excited. It's still religion at its core. But the point is, these Australian Bible belts demonstrate how religious fervor adapts to different cultural contexts. It's not just about geography, it's about finding ways to connect with people, where they are using the tools and language that resonate with them.
Okay, so Australia's got their megachurches with a side of shrimp on the Barbie. What else is out there? Any snake handlers in Sweden? Doomsday cults in Denmark? Give me the global lowdown, Doc.
We don't have time to cover every corner of the globe, but let's hit a few highlights. Germany, for example, has what's known as the Saxon Bible Belt, a region in the Ural Mountains with a strong evangelical Protestant and conservative Lutheran community.
Germany? Those beer-swilling, sausage-loving bastards have a Bible Belt. What the fuck is next? A vegan barbecue joint in Texas.
Remember, religion doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by history, culture, and politics. And in Germany, like many places, there are regions where religious beliefs have a significant influence on social and political life, even in a country known for its secularism and love of David Hasselhoff.
All right. So Germany's got their Saxon Bible Belt singing hymns between bites of bratwurst. What else you got? Any other unexpected pockets of holy rollerism out there?
How about Finland? They've got a Bible Belt in the north influenced by the Laestadian movement, a conservative Lutheran revival known for its strict moral code and emphasis on repentance.
Finland. The land of saunas, heavy metal, and melancholic drunks. I'm starting to think there's a Bible Belt lurking under every rock on this planet, maybe even on the moon.
Well, there's certainly a global diversity of religious fervor, and it manifests in different ways depending on the context. Take Mexico, for example. They have what's known as the Rosary Belt, a region with a strong Catholic presence and a history of resistance to anti-clericalism.
A Rosary Belt. Sounds a bit more chill than a Bible Belt. Are they all about peace, love, and tequila?
Not necessarily. This region has its own brand of religious intensity, often intertwined with traditional values and conservative politics. It's a reminder that religious fervor isn't exclusive to Protestantism. It can be found across different faiths and cultures, transcending geographical boundaries and theological differences.
Okay, so we've got Bible belts, Rosary belts. What's next? A Quran belt in the Middle East, a Torah belt in Israel. Is the whole world going to hell in a handbasket?
Those terms aren't commonly used, but you get the idea. The point is, there are pockets of intense religiosity scattered all over the globe, and they often play a significant role in shaping social and political landscapes, influencing everything from legislation to cultural norms.
So what's the takeaway here, Doc? Are we all destined to be ruled by religious zealots? Should I start stockpiling guns and canned goods for the apocalypse?
That's a bit dramatic, wouldn't you say? But it's true that religion continues to be a powerful force in the world, for better or for worse. It can inspire acts of great compassion and charity, but it can also be used to justify violence and oppression. It all depends on how it's wielded and who's holding the reins.
So basically, it's a double-edged sword. Religion can be a source of hope or a weapon of destruction. Sounds about right for the human race. We're a fucked up species, aren't we?
Indeed. And as we've explored in this deep dive into the world of Bible belts and their international counterparts, understanding the complexities of religion, its history, its cultural expressions, its political entanglements, is crucial for navigating the challenges of the 21st century. It's not about blindly accepting or rejecting faith, but rather engaging with it critically, thoughtfully, and with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Well, folks, there you have it, the Bible Belt and beyond. A whirlwind tour of religious fervor from Alabama to Australia, from Germany to Mexico. We've explored the history, the culture, the politics, and the sheer batshit craziness that can erupt when faith and dogma collide. It's been real, it's been fun, and it's been real fun. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and for fuck's sake, try not to drink the Kool-Aid.
Indeed. Farewell, and may your journey be filled with enlightenment and perhaps just a smidgen of irreverence.